This is Weird Renegade Witches Blog. Hit us up when you want some real motherfucking work done. Of course, go to the Weird Renegade website, waywardrenegadewitchesblog.com. Of course, click onto the link of old shows of Blog Talk Radio, nostalgic shows. I've been in process talking to, I always keep saying this, talking to different people, kind of getting different concepts, new concepts for Blog Talk Radio. Because, again, we want to talk about shit that we can't talk about on fucking YouTube on some real motherfucking shit. However, you already know Wayward is about that revenge, redemption, and responsibility, because you already know that art is occultism. Occultism is an art. However, I'm ending the 101 lessons. That's coming to an end. Of course, this is September 26th. You know that that second moon is supposed to be a rooting, we will say. However, in white people's world, and you see, I said peoples. We got the full moon equinox popping off. So niggas about to really cut up and do some manifesto work. Be in the dark, coming into the light, doing the spell work. So we got to watch them winter people and we got to watch the fall people, you know, because there's going to be some shit uprooting in the spring and summer, so they're going to be cutting up. So we got to watch those horoscopes. We have the lunar eclipse that just passed and it's supposed to be upcoming, but it's always lunar eclipse. Then we have, of course, the ring of fire, aka the sun moon, but the ring of fire. And then we have, of course, red October coming up to roost. However, niggas out here tripping because they done told you between now and I guess at the end of September, there's supposed to be 2 moons. Ain't no 2 moons. That's the freak off moon. Ain't no 2 moons. That's the freak on moons. We're going to stop playing with these people, right? Because they know that they done sat up and set a whole different frequency out in a universal soul. And you know black people don't got no fucking sense. So let me see what moons. We have because you know most of you conscious niggas be sitting out here talking about, it's the moon of it's Nibru. Whatever, Nibru. Okay. So anyway, we're going to have corrupt. So during this time, we should be playing corrupt song. We Can Freak It. We should be playing FreakyTales by Too Short. We should be playing Get Your Freak On by Miss Elliott. Okay? Since they coming up with this second moon, so y'all could get your freak off, you know, as they per their words. Okay? That's what we can do. Anyway, this election that we call an election, you guys have been so distracted by Trump, Kamala Harris, Trump. You guys have been distracted by this Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, the P. Diddy bullshit. But you guys are not even watching the real motherfucking shit. I went back. I'm going to keep it real, keep it right. And I've talked about this a lot. Call me a hater, call me what you want to, but I want to point out something because I fell victim to this. I was watching Jaguar, right? And then there's that other guy that's a snitch telling on Puff Daddy, because I don't know when niggas start telling on each other and telling their business. That's some new shit, and I'm not used to it. If your man is doing that kind of shit, snitching and being an Albie Shore and all these niggas, dump that nigga. He ain't shit. He ain't good for nothing. He a weak nigga. Okay? Because a real motherfucker don't be out here telling on other men and want everybody to know what it is, what it ain't. That's real. That's some wild shit right there, right? Anyway, let me go back. I was watching Jaguar, right? And I've been noticing something. Is she biting off what the fuck I'm saying because she has a larger audience? Because she's up there looking and talking shit, and some people were saying she was acting like Sherazad Ali and all type of shit. That's a different type of frequency, and I'm going to get to that because that's energy stealing. Okay. However, that's why you have to be careful when you're on social media, because them motherfuckers, those people be out there watching you doing rituals, stealing your soul, stealing your energy, and you feel weak and tired, and you on social media talking. It doesn't even matter if you have two fucking people looking at you. These motherfuckers are up there trying to steal your soul because they need to feed. But let me get back to what I was, because I'm having a cancer moment. I went back and I was looking at Jaguar Wright. I was looking at Tasha K. I was looking at all of these snitch motherfuckers who are telling on all these entertainers. You people are not even getting real good gossip like you used to, because this is all fake and orchestrated and old shit that they're presenting to you. What is also very interesting, we have to do the demographics and target market who's really listening to this, right? And who has a greater interest in this are millennials and Gen Zs. Generation X don't give a fuck. And if you do give a fuck, you a damn fool. Okay? Cause you already know the what's up. Okay? So you have people like Jaguar Wright and the rest of these people out here spewing out all of this information on black people. You have D.L. Hewley over here supposedly angry with Janet Jackson? What the hell is going on here? So if we really kind of analyze it, that is spell work. They playing games with us. They went and put these motherfuckers up there to distract us from ourselves, from our knowledge, from our education, from our point of views, from our amendments, from our we the people, from everything. We're not thinking. Why are we listening to Jaguar Wright? Why are we listening to Tasha K? Why are we listening to Omar Johnson? Why are we listening to any of these people? Because, and the people who should really, 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 really get their ass kicked are Christians. The reason why Christians should get their ass kicked, because you fucking know better. Someone was in conversation with me, and they were telling me about their friend who was telling them that the Bible contradicts itself. And I used to talk like that. The Bible contradicts itself. Even in the earlier part of Wayward/Witch Patrol, I was talking big shit, right? But as I really progressed and really understood some things, that was spell work. That was a game, because that game led you into other rituals, other occultisms, other cults, other spiritualities, other comedics, other unconscious communities. All of that energy led us there, okay? And we don't want to talk about it. We don't want to deal with it. We don't want to understand it. We don't know shit about these people. Where in the fuck did Jaguar Wright come from? Where in the fuck did Tasha K come from? Where in the hell did all these people come from? Then you will realize that the government is behind them, or whosoever's. You will realize that the conscious community sold us out long time ago. And that is why in the spirit, which is church and whatever else, they say don't follow those people. In the word, it tells you don't follow those people. The bottom line is that black people can dissect the word and pull the spirit out of it because of the true natures. Not the fake shit, but the real shit. I know old school women. That's why I told you that behind me, this is the fake tarot. The real tarot is in the Bible. The real tarot is what you read up in them scriptures, and you able to read some real motherfucking shit. Okay? All of these pictures behind me comes from what? That same book that you say that's fake. The conscious community have psychics and readers, in addition to people who read tarot. But those are the same people that will talk negatively against the word, against the understanding of the word, but you're using fucking tarots that is the word. That's the real shit, right? So that's why I told you in the other video that, hey, be careful of them tarots because those are CIA invented that pulls energy from you. You have to use, they're pulling your energy to read what? Where in reality, if you pick up the fucking Bible and not this modern day Bible, you got to go old school. You can read some fucking shit and read people down. But then we have to be careful of reading because in reality, you're supposed to be prophet and prophetess. You shouldn't be readers and psychics because readers and psychics are created in the government. Readers and psychics are principles and philosophies and not proverbs and psalms. That's the real shit. Okay? So you have to read, as we call it, in the spirit. And we have to be careful because we have many people out here who believe in psychics because psychics are orchestrated who use the different Greek mythologies to read into people, which is demonic and diabolical and ominous. So we have to be careful of these frequencies in this universal soul because now those energies have went into air, into cyber, and they're pushing out into the universe. Okay? So let me loop back. So we're up here listening to all of that bullshit, and there's real shit happening right underneath our nose. That is fucking witchcraft and bewitchery and diabolical. This whole election is ominous, okay? And therefore diabolical behavior. Literally, bad juju, bad luck. You got Oprah. You have them talking about South Asians. Let me tell you something. I was looking at that town hall meeting with molesting ass Oprah, allegedly, with trafficking as African children Oprah, allegedly. The shit that's going on with Kamala, where they're up here asking questions about her, about children being enslaved, or the senators or whoever that hearing was about that shit, allegedly. I'm listening to this town hall meeting. They have us distracted over Haitians and Venezuelans. Excuse me. You have South Asians, they're calling themselves South Asians, who are all going to vote for Kamala. We out here thinking, oh, we don't want them damn Mexicans, because you know how niggas are. We don't want them damn Mexicans, because the Mexicans can be El Salvadoran, South American, Central American. They don't give a fuck, you a Mexican. We don't want them fucking Mexicans. They didn't got them here. But they didn't snuck South Asians? Wait a minute, what? She didn't told you who's going to vote. We already know what it is, what it ain't. Spirit would have to jump in and turn all this shit around because both of them, Trump and Kamala, are fucked up. That's why I said vote for the Green Party, okay, if you don't know. However, the South Asians have already put their foot on the ground to vote for her, to vote for Kamala. You people don't know the background of Indians or how long they've been in America and how much they are a force. When they sit up and talk about there's somebody behind somebody, how do you know it's not that special needs, allegedly, son that just got married that's Indian that's fucking all this shit up? We all know he has autism. We not stupid. Okay, allegedly. You don't know what it is. When you go back and you start to look at even Hollywood, there's a lot of there's a lot of Indians in office. Wasn't one of they have, what is it? Some of the mayors. That whole Netflix was supported by an Indian culture. You didn't see that coming. Now that I'm looking back at it, I was fucking there. And I seen the backup. I seen what was going on. We so busy looking at everybody else, we not looking at the underdogs. We so busy looking at Jews and these corporate entities. We not looking at the motherfuckers, the real people. So when I heard her say South Asians, Asian hate is exactly what I told you. I said, I knew this Asian hate ain't got anything to do with no damn Chinese, Koreans, and none of them. It has everything to do with these Indians. And that is why these Indians are hollering racism. They're saying black people are racist. They were talking about in Texas, they went and tore down. No, they have this. What is this? Let me make sure that I'm right. Shit. So y'all can look it up. Let me see if I can find it. There is a new statue in Texas. Let me see if I can find it. And okay, in Texas, they have a new statue called Hanumane. Now, you know I'm pronouncing this wrong, okay? But you'll find it. Let's see here. Because we're going to have some conversation with this witchcraft that they playing us with, that we're so distracted, okay? In Texas, they have a 90 feet Hanan, Hanuman, aka for me human, statue unveiled in Texas. And I know Texas have a lot of Indians there. Now let's go back to the George Floyd energy when they were tearing down all of these racist, discriminatory ass statues and Confederate flags and all of that. Let me tell you something. Racism is the fabric of America, of the world. And when you start to tear stuff down, it changes and shifts the energy. That energy of them tearing down the fabric of America was them to bring in new Eastern cultures. Do you understand that as Black people we're asleep and we don't understand this new racism, this new discriminatory actions? When we talk about bewitchery and shit, because we're too busy looking at Jaguar Wright and all the rest of them, but we're not really looking at what we're missing. We're too busy looking at Kamala Harris and Trump and this demonic ass election, but we're not really peeping what they're slipping in, right? So let's go back to George Floyd when they tore down the fabric of America by using this alleged black man and using an energy to tear down racism and bringing inclusive. That shit was a farce and it was fake. Everything has been here to cause confusion. You have to understand the spell work. They tore down all the racism just for more worse racism. Some of you damn fools out there will sit up and say, well, Indians can't be racist because they're people of color. Chinese people can't be racist because they're people of color. Mexican people can't be racist because they're people of color. What you talking about? That's even, they're worse. They're worse. I had the audacity, somebody had the audacity to write, you're always talking racism, and somebody's racism towards you, you have to, basically in so many words, I'm paraphrasing, you have the audacity to be angry. You fuck yeah, and I don't give a fuck. Because it is a form of witchcraft that I'm talking about. And if you don't understand what the fuck I'm talking about, then you need to get the fuck off my page, because I know you stupid as a motherfucker. Because what I'm saying to you is this. This new form of racism is worse than you can ever have with the fabric of America with some dang Confederate. They have made black people forget how people will discriminate and fuck you up. You are so busy being part of this inclusive shit that you're not even seeing the racism. They talk about defund the cops. They have defunded your ass. They keep finding ways to walk in your neighborhoods to defund you, make you homeless, don't have ownership of household, or homes. You don't have jobs. They don't even want you to, if you have a home, they don't even want you to rent it out. In Washington, D.C., they have a clause, some kind of new bill that they have not. See, you guys sleeping. They have some kind of new bill or something where on the application for rental, you have to have a permit, this, that. And that energy goes to the new tenant. In addition, they even have something on their application that talks about subsidized or basically kind of Section 8 housing. I'm going to say subsidized housing. Because a lot of those people who've been renting over there in Washington, D.C., or those, I'm going to say the brokers and the agents, some of them been pushing to rent Section 8 or subsidized housing, we will say. Project-based, whatever you want to call it, is what it is, what it ain't. Okay? That's suspicious. That means there has been something that has been passed and nobody knows what it is. And who's ever behind it is seeking checks and balances. See, when they start to do checks and balances, that means they're trying to remove money out of your hand and monitor how money flows in your account and on your property. How in the fuck, if you're renting your property, how in Washington, D.C. does taxes incorporate itself into you not getting your permit or whatever you need to rent out your home? That is suspicious and nobody's talking about that shit. How in the fucking Washington, D.C., District of Columbia, how in the fuck does somebody have a hold in your goddamn business and how you handle business? And where does your taxes come in? And for them to say, no, you can't have this because you didn't pay your taxes. That's none of your business. That's not handling business. Who's behind that? As you over here listening to all this fucking distraction. Let's talk about what the fuck they're slipping underneath you while you over here in fucking air magic. See, this is you in air magic. They over here on earth fucking you up. Explain that. How in the fucking Texas there's a 90 feet statue on American soil? I thought y'all was nationalists. Texas is full of shit. That's telling you what is coming in. I went into a shop because I had to get some stuff. It was a Venezuelan man that owns it. Then there were some Mexican workers up in there. I respect Mexicans because they don't play any games with their spirituality and they do not detour from what the fuck they do. This man, obviously, the Venezuelan, kept trying to sell me on Eastern philosophies. And I'm listening. Well, in India, they do this. In India, they do that. In India, they make this. And you should use this. But he is Venezuelan who practiced Ifa, who's also in Freemason. So it makes me think, oh, the Freemasons, is this what they keep pushing now? When people come in, you're going to have a whole bunch of Eastern shit and push the Eastern culture? I'm not being racist. I'm just looking at it with this because that's their culture. That's what they practice. That's what they do. Somebody was telling me that they even changed Buddhism from 50 pages to 15 pages. You can't even practice Buddhism right. You don't even know if you're doing the real shit. So as we're being distracted, this is all the shit that's going on in the universal soul. Okay? Very, very, very much diabolical energy. So then you guys are over here distracted with Trump. I'm not distracted by Trump because I have some fucking questions. So you telling me that Trump is a German Jew? Okay, wait a minute. So you telling me, in so many words, Frederick, this is how the times are. See, let me explain something. Even with my last name is Jewish, even though it has a French energy, even though it is Hebrew. Which one is it? So when I track the last name down, it goes all the way back to Israel. And once they came to America, they changed the name. They changed the last name, twice. And then is what it is today. That's what happened. See, a lot of times the Jews, when they came from Israel, wherever they came from, they would change their last name. Because even with my last name, they changed it, and you see where it started from and where it ended. Okay? So his great grandparents, Frederick and Elisa, of the 1800s of Germany, of Karlstadt, Germany, their last name was Drumpf. D-R-U-M-P-H. D-R-U-M-P-F. They didn't create Trump from the Bible for Trump. This is the real last name. And I'm looking at the grandfather. I said, oh, he's Jewish. Yes, German Jews. Yikes. He and that grandfather, he and his wife, Elizabeth. How did we miss this? That was the grandfather's last name. And then now today we're listening to his press conference or whatever, and he's looking not even orange, but he's looking very burnt tanned with blondish hair. You guys so busy saying he's German, he's Jewish. His family comes from Germany, but they're dang Jewish. Damn it. It made me think about if we're Christians, are we supposed to be with Palestine? Because in the Christian church, they always said they were sinners. Not being rude, not being disrespectful. I'm just saying what it is in the Christian church. So when I see black people support, I kind of understand whatever. Because regardless, we still have to understand the current state of Jewish people, they're hybrids. When all that shit was popping off in those synagogue churches, that didn't happen when you thought it happened. That happened a minute ago. It might have happened during the pandemic. You never know. And they got busted. A lot of stuff happened during the pandemic and before and around it, and then we're just now getting it. Understand, everything that's in place was already in place 2 to 3 years ago. It already happened, as you guys are distracted. So then we have Puff Daddy. You guys are so busy talking about the baby oil and dildos. That's a fake ass story. The person, whoever FBI agent that was saying, was a fake ass story. His arrest was a fake ass story. Those pictures were a fake ass fuck. Him with his daughters and whatever, that was fake. Matter of fact, that's not even him. How many motherfucking Puff Daddies are you going to show me? But you guys are too ignorant to see because you're too abused to understand. They're running around here making costume, fucking makeup, fucking prosthetic cheeks and all this stuff and mask. They're talking about it more and more. These masks are looking damn good. Mr. Doubtfire, or was it Miss Doubtfire or Mr. Doubtfire, whatever. Because remember that Mr. Doubtfire was based off of a murder, of a murderous or serial murder lady, a senior citizen, if you don't know. Just like that story about Jeffrey Dahmer and all that is really about those two gay guys, I think, or a cumulative story of serial killers, especially that one from Tupelo, Louisiana. What's his name? Dominique something. Read his story. It sounds very interesting. It sounds very much like Jeffrey Dahmer. Remember the actor that played Jeffrey Dahmer? And we haven't seen him since because he's fucked up in the head now because of that role. Anyway, I talked about Mr. Doubtfire. Well, yeah, that's really a person. Is a person who murdered people. Is a senior citizen. Look it up. So they're out here having fucking masks with fucking beards, hair, everything, fillers, all of that. They were talking about Kris Jenner, how they're saying that she's masked up. These people be masked up. I was talking to my spiritual constituents. We were talking about clones. That maybe there aren't really clones. It's just people in masks. But then I said, but I do believe there's beasts out here. I honestly believe that there are other energies out here. I said, then you also got people having sex with dead people. Then you have motherfuckers pulling eggs and sperm. Because people assume that after death, and I'm going to say allegedly, but after death, and I'm not giving medical advice, but usually how it happens, especially what the mortuary people are talking about, when they do that, it happens usually as kind of around the certain amount of time to have the sperm and shit like that and ejaculation. Because remember that whole story, was it in Memphis, I think, with the woman who got pregnant with the dead man's child? Yeah, that's a whole other ritual. That's what I was trying to tell you guys about that Katrina having sex with dead bodies. Then you wonder why some of these people crazy as hell. I don't believe any of that shit. You guys out here believing this story about Puff Daddy. Nah, they just put T.I. in his place. That's all that happened. They need to move him over so T.I. can be the next nigga. You know, the one that won the 71 mil or 70 mil for the OMG girls. We had no clue there was an alleged doll emulating them called a LOL. And then I said, then what happened to Jim and the holograms and the brats? I said, something sound like a snitch. This T.I. man didn't have guns. He didn't have bitches. He didn't had what's her name? Iggy Azalea on the hostro. He didn't say that you're the help. He didn't have all that shit. Did I say the guns? What? Allegedly. All that shit going down. That's a Libra. That's air. Then I started thinking, damn, Tiny was on that damn tour. Did she get paid for something? I mean, all these old school people on tour for no reason and they not singing right. What's in their suitcases and shit allegedly? What they transporting city to city? Allegedly. I'm just asking questions. I'm not saying what it is. I'm just asking of the spell work and the bewitchery. Are we gonna sit up and act like that fucking Candy was up there singing like a motherfucker? Hell no. Did she get paid? So who got paid? So we have two people that, I mean, not the Cancer and the Libra, who are the gatekeepers. So you got rid of Scorpio for T.I.? So now this is the games they playing with you. Wherever this fucking Diddy is, that's where he at. That book, Kim Porter, that's a fake ass book. That's on the same lines as fucking T.D. Jakes, because we know that he didn't write, was it Woman Thou Whatever? We know he didn't write any of his fucking books. None of them write their fucking books. The man who wrote that book, from what I understood from my spiritual constituents, was a gay white man. So you black women over here rolling around in the fucking aisle and shit and hooping and hollering over T.D. Jakes, and a whole gay white man then wrote that fucking book. So who wrote Kim Porter's book? Cause then you got Al B. Shore talking about he wants an investigation. Fuck you, Al B. Shore, cause you and your cousin Christopher Williams are very questionable. You wouldn't give your son to Puff Daddy. So what the fuck you talking about? We gotta think about this shit. The distraction. You guys out here not peeping. They're mounting a different frequency called the freak off. Now now people like Atlanta is already another world. From the polyamorous to the threesomes to all of that shit. It's crazy. I was recently looking at the movie with Drew, that movie that Candy Burris and her husband produced and wrote. That's why I didn't understand why she was even on tour. And that movie was basically about men setting up women and a whole crew of people being involved. And then in my soul, I said, what is this energy to attack black women and their wealth and get it? And they're helping the black men do it. What is that? Like, that's why I said Atlanta is a whole different world. The kind of shit that goes down in Atlanta is the kind of shit that happens in Hollywood. Black people, you ain't shit. And you look like shit. None of this shit about Puff Daddy is real. What we're looking at is something that happened a minute ago. Oh, this person is suing them. Are they suing him because he may have had AIDS, allegedly? Y'all didn't peep Puff Daddy some years back when he looked like he had AIDS, allegedly? I'm just talking. Go back, go look at old footage of the real Diddy, because you know he comes in different forms. So go look at the old energy, and in one interview, he looked like he had AIDS. His eyes and everything was sunken in. I said, oh, so is that the real lawsuit? He ain't coming out of pocket for shit. Why don't you think these fucking studios and record companies are crashing? I was tripping that Azalea Banks and Iggy Azalea had the same name. Azalea. And some of you will be like, no, it's this. No, it's that. No, it's this. No, no. Those are that's the same name. It's like Kim and Kim. Kim with an I and Kim with a Y. How come we didn't catch that? How come we didn't catch the shit that was going down in studios? These motherfuckers been out here prostituting and hoeing. I went back and started thinking about Lil' Kim. It was a whole pimp and pandering energy. That BET, that BET energy, that was a mess. Was that a year or two ago? It was a mess. And was it Melly Mel or whoever that got arrested up in the damn hotel room because he beat up his hoe? And then it just disappeared? Why are we playing with this Diddy shit? This is not a game. It's them trying to play games with black people. White people been pimping and pandering. It's just the difference is you have a John Travolta and a fucking Hugh Hefner who have fucking private planes who go pick up the hoes, go pick up the children. Everybody's so angry with Hugh Hefner, but he was showing enough got paid during the Vietnam War to pick up them Vietnamese children and babies and bring them here to the United States. You guys wasn't tripping off of Sean Penn and them. And John Travolta and them, you guys, oh, they're feeding the people. What were they really doing? You think what's her name? Gwen Paltrow wasn't hoeing? And them white folks was mad as fuck at her because she was sleeping with Weinstein? What the hell y'all think Whitney Houston was doing when she was allegedly in that fur coat and went to Eddie Murphy's house and he clowned her? And she was allegedly naked underneath there. What the hell do you think Halle Berry was doing? These people come down sick. These people have infections, allegedly. And they have gave people infections. Start to read up on a lot of this shit and connect the dots. What was that real energy with Usher? Usher is allegedly doing a concert. He and this past weekend, Nicki Minaj did a concert, I think, in Los Angeles. And the person was telling me that Usher is not very popular. Nicki Minaj is popular, but she's not performing well. She's just talking through her performances. And people are not trying to see Usher all like that. What is happening? And you guys out here being so distracted. You guys are distracted with Russia. What is really going on with Russia? Russia is a dangerous energy, and black people don't know what the fuck they're getting to fucking around with Russians in Russia. Even though that you have Putin telling France to get the fuck out of Russia, we get the fuck out of Africa because Africa is going to be a new Africa. That is why they say to invest in Africa, because they changing the scope of it. That's why I said Africa is not the true nature. It's not the real continent of us. That's where they put us. I was talking to somebody and they was talking about their grandfather Jamaican, and I started to do a lot of research about Haitians entering into America and Jamaicans entering into America. How do you know that slave ship story is real? How do you know it's real? Because the Haitians and the Jamaicans, and another story I heard from someone else who's a spiritual constituent was telling me the same dynamics of the whole slave energy and slave boats sounds like the same energy of them coming from the Caribbean islands here between what, like around the 1920s into the 1950s into the 1960s, especially with the feces and cleaning up feces and all that. Maybe because the real slave ship story is not real, and because the real people were already here, and whoever these colonizers who drugged and then took over the men and took over the energies enslaved the individuals. I cracks up all the time when I hear niggas get on social media about, well, black people enslaved. Well, no, those are called indentured slaves. See, black people indentured slaves because they had the money and wealth and prosperity. And there was something that's old, just like the Irish people indentured slaves had indentured slaves. The Italians and Slavics had indentured slaves. See, that's different than another culture coming in and downright treating you like shit. Chinese people were enslaved. Indians were enslaved. Enforced. Force. See, we got to know the difference between this stuff because we're not getting it. Because you're too distracted with listening to lame ass Diddy stories. You guys are so silly that it is coming up and coming out that these Indians owning these motels and hotels have a lot of recordings of these entertainers and putting the shit out there. In addition to, they're allegedly talking about how a lot of them have cameras and shit. There are other people complaining about the behaviors that they're saying, and this is quoted from someone, and I'm just quoting them saying, you do not want Indian people in power or to own anything because basically the quality goes down. Okay, people are not talking about a lot of those hotels the Indians own have like different dungeons. It has tunnels. Did we forget about the story we seen in Canada with the young lady being hijacked, the Native American lady? And the Indian man was zipping up his pants, and she was like telling the people to help me because they had her bounded up. So we have to be careful with a lot of these stories coming out because a lot of other third world people own different energies here in America. Like, I have a spiritual constituent, she's in fashion, and she was talking about NAFTA. Remember NAFTA, everybody? Remember NAFTA? Go look it up. And how America thought it was okay to fuck around with NAFTA. But NAFTA was the downfall of America and weakened the economy of America. So then they talk about Canada, but they're not talking about Mexico. They're not talking about Asia. They had Africa, Mexico. And what the person explained to me is that all these people all they did, especially the Mexicans and Chinese, all they did was save up their money, bought different machines, started in their dang attics, whatever, homes, sewing shit, and then boom, they end up having whole factories and warehouses. Thank you, NAFTA. Because now America doesn't have a foot in the fire when it comes up to textiles and fabrics and anything. DuPont, I was shocked to hear that. I studied DuPont when I went to freaking fashion school. And they were the leading in fabrics and textiles. Now they don't even exist in that. You know, as you're distracted of P. Diddy, Kamala, Trump, this election, the shit with Russia, and now Janet Jackson involved. Then somebody forwarded me over something. I guess that Tariq Nasheed had something on his channel or whatever. I don't know. Showing Kamala Harris when she was deputy attorney in San Francisco. And I was looking at it. I said, I said, is that when she was assistant? I said, what kind of games is this? Is she an actress? Who in the hell is Kamala Harris? Now, I don't even know because I only know what I know. And I know her undertones, what I know. And I know she's not good for the Black community, especially for Black men. She just like to fuck you, but she ain't trying to fuck with you. A little bit, allegedly. I'm just saying. I said, I'm not trying to hear this shit about Janet Jackson when there's 25 different Janet Jacksons. I said, because this doesn't make sense. Why are you bringing the Taurus down? Oh, I forgot her shadow self is Scorpio. I forgot. That's what's happening. Dear Tauruses and Scorpios, you guys going to have a hard time because the energy in the horoscope world, they're trying to detour and fuck you up. Okay? Then I really started to wonder because I said Kamala Harris is connected to Willie Brown, Montel Williams, and, you know, some other energies. And people out here keep calling Kamala Harris a hoe. Is that air magic of manifesto? And is there a difference in being a hoe and a difference in sleeping around? We got to ask that question. That's very dark magic. Right? The part that got me is I had seen something with Candace Owens. And I said, is Candace Owens, what is she? Why are we listening to Candace Owens? She's not a real entity. Her whole life is not real. Is she from a group home? Where's she from? Who is she? Don't believe that story about her grandfather and bullshit, because that's a lie. And I was listening to her, and people was like, yeah, right on, Candace. And she started talking about Donald Harris. I said, didn't I? Because I got the story off of social media and the connection, because I had questions. I said, whoa, she does look like Donald Harris. So why is Candace Owens talking about something that was already put out there on social media and people rooting? That's how silly people are. Then I said, dang, I was just talking about this in my last video. Because remember, I was talking about the Atlanta murders, how they accused that person who was falsely accused, because I don't think the man did it, but they're going to keep him in there forever. But his uncle is Donald Harris, and then they went into this wrestler named Kamala James. Y'all look up this shit. Because then you got people like Candace Owens up there trying to put shit out like she's saying something. But we need to look at Candace Owens too, because she's suspect. Candace Owens is also a distraction as much as she's speaking right. We have to understand she's just she's just another Jaguar right that they didn't put in place to keep us imbalanced. Back in the day, we didn't have people like Jaguar Wright and Candace Owens. Those people would be on some kind of like radio. It'll be like a Candace Owens and Jabba Wright or Howard Stern. Period. That's what this is. This is why we are not focused. We're distracted, right? Then I started to kind of look at something. I said, what is really going on with San Francisco's DA? How come the current DA, Brooke Jenkins, look like Kamala Harris? So what are they grooming her for? Then before her, they had, what's his name, Chelsea Bowden. He's a life of crime. And when he was in there, it was a life of, what the fuck was that? We didn't see this. Then before all of that, you had George Gascon. Then he left fucking San Francisco, went to LA and got a fucking facelift. I didn't even recognize him at first. I said, is that Gascon? He didn't got his whole, he didn't win Hollywood. He said, fuck you, San Francisco, bitch. I'm going to go Hollywood. Nobody going to recognize me here. But he having some troubles there, you know. The Mexicans, they all mad with him and shit because he not doing right, allegedly. But I don't know. And I don't even know if he's still the DA in Los Angeles. And I said, I said, San Francisco didn't have some interesting frequencies going on with their DAs. Is San Francisco a fucking Truman Show all along? Shit. But as you're distracted, are you guys peeping these new bills popping up? Have you guys been following the UN and WHO summit that happened in New York, allegedly? I don't even think it happened when it happened. I think it happened a minute ago with them taking away the sovereignty of the Americas and for them to put in place corporate entities. So therefore we are for real democracy instead of governmental, or republic. So basically they were having a whole summit deciding how to take your amendments away from you and break away from we the people. So they want to say if something happens, if there's some kind of health, yada, 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 we have the right to shut down the world. We didn't follow this and them trying to implement this as we are distracted. See, the fucked up thing about this is we really don't know if it really happened when it happened, because it could have happened last year. And what they doing is handling it on earth and then throwing it in the air. But what is on earth can be battled and it could be embattled, but what is in air can't, because it's in maritime. So so what they're doing is telling you as it's already on paper, putting it in the air and getting the frequencies to hold on to it and push it out in the universe. So were you guys following this whole hearing that was real secretive with the UN and the WHO corporate entities, of them taking away your rights and saying that they have the right to say when something is a public health issue or whatever is going on, to say, fuck your amendments, we're just going to close it down like they did with the pandemic. Go look it up. Did you follow it? Did you follow HR 7909, the bill about the immigrants and deporting them when they assault women and children? And 158 Democrats voted nay, meaning they didn't want to deport them or incarcerate them if they harm children and women. Did you look that up? And how the Republicans had to override the Democrats? Did you follow that? As you are distracted under the bewitchery of Diddy, Kamala, Trump. Did you follow these bills that are being passed? Did you follow the executive orders that have been put in place? Did you, in California, did you follow fucking Newcomb? Did you follow how he's trying to put a law in place that on social media you can't talk shit or do parodies? because of Elon Musk. So they want to take your First Amendment away from you, of freedom of speech. Because remember, Kamala said that he said the same thing, that they want to hold platforms responsible. But that's all the First Amendment. That's why I said, hold on, YouTube and all these social medias. You can't sit up there and receive federal funding and support and then say you don't follow the First Amendment and say you're a private corporate entity. It doesn't go hand in hand. See, if you research, it's kind of like Safeway. Safeway, when during the whoop wop, you had to wear your mask. They was putting you through it, right? And saying that they are and what they kept saying is that they are a private entity. But I will suggest research Safeway and you will see that they also receive federal funding. And then they'll try to say, well, the land is. No, if anything dealing with the federal, there's a loophole. And when you catch them in their loophole, they put you in air where you keep going around in a circle and you can't fight them. Okay? So we have some fucking questions here. Okay. So anyway, here is saying that U.S. is a corporate democracy. They're mandating, they're creating new laws, they're uppercutting and dissolving the nationalist energy. Meaning, with you being born in America, you are considered a nationalist, but they're uppercutting you and taking away your rights, as we call we the people. Okay, your amendment rights, and they're putting it under democracy, under, of course, corporate entities. Rockefeller and all that shit that y'all like to talk about, those are corporate entities. Those are country clubs. Okay? The funny thing is, the reason why they also want to get rid of the church, because they want to get rid of the 10 Commandments. The 10 Commandments falls under we the people. In the Masonic book, in the Masonic book, there are more commandments to follow. Okay? So we have to understand what they're doing. We're supposed to be in a republic. California is supposed to be in a republic. And the bottom line is that they just want to treat us like minions. See, this is the part that we're distracted about, right? And I'm just kind of just looking, because I just want to talk about all the distractions. Why are we not addressing that on Earth, Kamala Harris is losing, but in air, she's winning? Who is this Black Democrat cult that they're talking about? The Black Democrat cult will attack you just like they attacked Janet Jackson. Anytime you say anything against Kamala Harris, the Black Democrat cult will come out and run after you. Are those the people that was at the White House at that Black Excellent dinner with Kamala and with Biden, and you seen all the Black entertainers or whoever was there in white? Is that the Black cult? The Black Democratic cult? I'm just asking questions. Kamala Harris was speaking in Atlanta on September 20th. What the hell was going on with her? People kept saying she was intoxicated. I think they done mounted so much shit on her, she didn't even know where she was at. It was like she was slurring. It was like, what the fuck is going on here? Just go back and look at that speech and you'll know what I'm talking about. It's in Atlanta, and it was on September 20th, 2024. We have questions. And what was going on with her that she kept gaslighting the Black journalists? That she went to go, meet with them. She could never answer their questions. What's going on, Kamala? You know, they're trying to make you president, but you're not answering questions, and then you talking and slurring. Straight air and fire magic. Then y'all out here flipping and tripping over that Photoshop video of her and Puff Daddy. That was Photoshop. If you look at it, that's a newer Puff Daddy. And look at her, that's an older Kamala. That was photoshopped. Also, did you guys ever notice the fall of Hollywood came in, like, dropped when Biden came into office? What was that? What kind of energy was that? To go back to the Indian energy, I want to understand what the hell is going on when more and more black women are complaining about Indian men sexually harassing them and touching their bodies. Can somebody please explain why are Indian men touching black women's bodies? And when the person who was telling me didn't understand, and I told her, I said, some of it is black women's fault because they get infatuated. First I want an Islamic man or a Middle Eastern man. First I want a white boy, then I want an Asian. Now I want an Indian. Why are more black women talking about them sexually assaulting? Can we really address, I want to loop back to Diddy, can we really address these freak offs? The freak offs are really trans people, trans parties, ballroom parties, young boy parties. Why are we not talking about that? During that Netflix energy, that whole speech that lady, that whole Netflix energy was due to all of this. They're not talking about, Puff Daddy's not the only one who had them fucking parties. There are two black brothers in Hollywood who have trans parties. They probably not have them anymore for now. But I'm doing a blind item. Two brothers. And they were having parties with trans and taking care of them. And allegedly some of the trans would end up dead. And they were saying some of that shit was happening in Hollywood, that the trans men would end up dead. Two black brothers in Hollywood, basketball players. I'm just looking at Puff Daddy. I said maybe he just going out with a bang. It's a great stunt. They're out there talking about that he don't want to eat. He's taken sick. He's on suicide watch. I said, all right. You people out here are so distracted that you're not watching your kids. There's a book that I had to watch out for. And I found it. My son had it. It said, Don't Believe Everything You Think by Joseph Nguyen. What kind of book is that to give to teenagers? So you're not supposed to believe what you think. Let me say something to you. Anxiety and depression, you shouldn't be afraid of it. It doesn't mean that you're crazy. If you overthink something, analyze why you're fucking overthinking it. So don't trust yourself. That's an Eastern culture. So in schools, they're pushing Eastern cultures, but you can't even have Black history. I cracked up at the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air because Will Smith been a cancer. On the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, Will Smith birthday was 7/3/1973. Carlton's was August, I think August 4th. So they've been have them working in their energies. There was an episode of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where they used astrology for business purposes. And the person thought that Will Smith was some kind of astrologist dealing with horoscopes. And I was flipped out because I didn't realize that all that time I thought the father that played on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was always a judge, but at one time on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air he was in a corporate entity. The corporate entity, the guy kept using astrology for business purposes. And the guy thought the father was a Capricorn. And because Capricorn meant prosperity, and the father said, hell, I'm an Aquarius, but hey, I'm going to ride with that. I said, damn, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air had some energies to it. They had an episode of Black History where Will kept flunking history because he said, in so many words, he couldn't identify with it. So then his aunt, the Black one, said, you fight for it. You protest for it. And she went there with him and she ended up teaching the class. They're so busy trying to eliminate us out of anything and everything. We don't even realize our fucking power. I want those races as statues and busts. Because that's, like I said, that's the fabric of America. No, they don't want our history because they want to put their history. And they want to reframe our children's heads. We got to look at this shit, right? In, what is this? The GUSD, which is, I'm assuming it's Glendale Unified School District, has this feminine book. Let me read this shit. And the guy went to a meeting. What's his name? Ray Shelton. He was reading from a book that was in, Glendale Mayer. I think she's Armenian. Let me see. It's a feminist book. It's called Feminist Frontier. And this school book, and this was in our children's school books. And I'm sorry, this was in the children's library. I don't know if it's junior high or college. And he called out the Glendale mayor. And it says here in the book, and he asked, did you let them know that you think the human asshole is a reproductive organ? This was in the book. Did you let them know that you think, no, I've got that part. He kept saying that she lied. And he said this book is between, I guess, the year 2023 and 2024. It's a textbook. And it also they use it in 2021 and 2022. And within this book, that feminist book that I just said, it says, horny ready to fuck this bitch. This is what the kids are reading. Her mouth, her pussy, and her ass all feel great. Then it says, so let's get together, something, something, the hell out of my hot blow up doll. This is in that book, that Feminist Frontier. Then it says, any straight bi guys want to help me? And then something with my blow up doll. So, is this on the same lines as this? I need some wet throat ass. About to leave work soon and looking for some throat and ass from a sexy, nasty bottom. I'm black, 30 years old, 5'9", 290 pounds, stocky build, verbal, total top, can something hold at discreet spot, or I guess host at a discreet spot in a hotel near me. Bowie email or KK nasty. Was it nasty one? Then the person who sent this to me said, he said he was talking about wanting wet ass. Basically, he said he was talking about wanting feces. That right there, what that man was busting out from the Glendale School District, from the Feminist Frontier, and quoting, is the same thing that you're reading here, which goes back to Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, wet ass pussy? This is why we're distracted. We're not analyzing what's going on, and even in our children's schools. Like, for real? You have Christians out here talking about Hezekiah Walker and Marvin Saps are selling demonic t-shirts with demons on it. And I don't know if it's a QR code or whatever is underneath it. I don't know if they called it the lent, what's it called? Lenticular lenses. I don't know. I don't know if it's if what they call it, a stereogram. I don't know exactly what they call the layer, but on the t-shirts, you could see it. It's like a demon floating. But you don't see it on the actual t-shirts. As you're distracted, you got people out here tripping with Juanita Bynum saying that she's a Luciferian because she talks real and talks right about women in birth and how we are the vessel. Okay? And so that tears down the energies of Christianity. We should have understood Christianity was janky when Jesus denounced his own mother, Mary. How do you denounce the woman who birthed you? Which pushes the energies of men who have this hatred towards women. We have been denounced back then with Jesus. Some of you are like, oh no, he didn't. He was just growing, and no. He denounced his mother. He denounced the woman that birthed him. So we're going to stop playing with Jesus. This is what I'm talking about with understanding spirit and understanding philosophies and practical measures and principles. See, you got to understand. So men are in their feelings. I recently on social media, Riza Islam, I guess his wedding popped up, but just a tidbit, and they only showed him in his gold frequency. I was trying to see who the bride is. You know I'm nosy. I was like, oh, wait a minute, and then it cut off. I'm like, I didn't want to see him. So now you got black men acting like they the fucking bride. That goes into the Jesus effect, denouncing the woman. So this is the kind of energies that's going on in the universal soul, right? As we're distracted. Demi Moore has a movie that came out, I think, what is it called? Damn, I see the movie. And it was something very interesting. Let me see here. Because I'm about tired of y'all talking about Clive Davis. Hey, do y'all think Jay-Z and Lil Wayne are actually cousins? Because they're both, their last name is Carter. Wouldn't that be surprising that they're actually cousins? They're related. Basically, it's this energy rolling around YouTube and they're calling it destiny swapping. So you have modern day millennials that's created old shit and just renamed it. And it's basically the motherfucker stealing your energy and becoming and riding on it, right? But I said that's very lower level what they're talking about, destiny swapping. Because it made me think about adrenochrome. In this new movie with Demi Moore, let's see here. Okay. So Demi Moore is in this movie called The Substance. This is a very much movie I think people should see because I think this will answer the questions with adrenochrome. That adrenochrome allegedly they was pulling from the spine. Allegedly, she wanted to be this younger woman, and it's a whole energy. You just have to see it to understand. The movie is like 2 hours and 22 minutes. Do the calculations. 2 hours and 22 minutes. But the main thing that stood out to me was in this movie how the woman was stuck the needle in the spinal cord and was pulling out the or sucking out the spinal cord fluid. And I said, isn't that what the whole adrenochrome and shit was going on? Because basically this other entity, this other omen that was her, overstayed her welcome in some energies and dried her the fuck out and sucked her life, right? As they used to call also dream killers. Sacrifices. Sacrificing someone is a form of destiny swapping, right? I don't even like that word destiny swapping. Just stop sugarcoating and say these motherfuckers are haters. For example, like somebody in my comments said, I rebuke your energy. No, you're trying to steal my energy because you think you have the authority to say that shit. Right? I'm just saying. That's what that is. People can uplift you, steal your energy. That's why I just was talking about social media. When I was talking about people literally can get on social media and steal your soul and steal your energy if you don't protect yourself. And we talk about this all the time. We're talking about how Hollywood will literally, is this woman called My Dysfunctional Family. Michael Epps have been looking at this woman, invited her to one of his comedy shows. Lee Daniels is interested in this woman. Go look up My Dysfunctional Family on Instagram and TikTok. This woman is always hollering, and I cracks up, but then I understand her. But other motherfuckers are looking at her and creating comedy skits and shit around her. Lee Daniels, why in the fuck is he interested in her? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. When you have Hollywood coming in looking at you, that is, in millennial terms, called destiny swapping. They taking your shit that is yours and making it theirs, and then trying to thrive on it. I'm worried about the woman, the lady who's on that Instagram or her channel, whatever you may want to call it. Her kids chronicle her yelling and cussing and cutting the fuck up. It's on the same lines as that black propaganda shit that's been rolling on social media, on Instagram and TikTok, where they'll take a black woman and have her clowning her kids and being this awful person and all this shit. That is propaganda, but that's still destiny swapping. That's motherfuckers. That's because black people done got on social media and showed their life. And people have now put it on social media and stealing their frequencies and getting payment. Just like I was telling somebody, I said fat people are phased out. They don't want no more Lizzos. But I said, but people are still, I'm not telling people to remain fat or have health problems and whatever they want to say, what it is, what it ain't. What I'm saying is that since they want to phase out fat people, and some of you say, well, y'all fat asses need to lose weight any fucking way. Got you. So anyway, there's money. There's money in clothes. There's money in products. The funny thing is the government and everything else make money off of you for years and years and years. And you could go back all the way back to Time Life from the 1950s on. Wait, pills, diet pills. Now it's shots, this and that. BBLs. Plastic surgery. And then they have the audacity to say you're fat, but then for a minute in the black community, they had you eating slop food. Shit, you can't even buy healthy food at Trader Joe's because that food is hybrid now. They need to just go on and close Trader Joe's. Shit. Everything you eat causes you not to lose weight. You can't even lose weight right anymore because of the type of foods that they have now. You can't even lose weight quickly anymore. It just is awful, right? However, there's money. You have stylists who don't even know how to style fat women. Clothes are looking real stupid. And then, like I was talking about earlier about the pandemic was hiring all of these fat models. Now they can't even find gigs from what I was told from my spiritual constituents. So what I'm saying is there's money in everything, but people always want to swap out your life. Sometimes we want to swap out our lives. There's another movie called Afraid that's dealing with AI. Y'all should go see that movie. Art Imitates Life. How AI is not really a computer. It's a human being that controls it looking into your life. It makes me go back and think about how Gavin Newsom talked about that he's partial banning of smartphones. But you want to create smart cities. So what's up with the smartphones and these smart cities? And then you have AI coming in, and now they want to put it in people's homes, but it can read into people and fuck up their lives. The machine in this movie can read people's lives. It's do or die. But you find out it's a fucking human that knows all this information. And is there to make your life better. It can even kidnap your kids. It can make you kill people. It can make you believe that it's someone outside and it's not. It can ruin people's lives, or it can make it better. Y'all should go see the movie. It's called Afraid. You might can see it on Prime. Who knows? Art imitates life. As they working in air. That whole movie that Demi Moore is in is Earth and air. On Earth, she's played out. But in air, she revamped herself and became an entity, and it looks good on air. But it all crashes. But I feel this movie right here says something about that adrenochrome. You know, they also saying that Puff Daddy is on them narcotics and he's going through it. Bullshit. Here it is. Kamala Harris, Know Your Rights presentation. So apparently these kids that are enslaved in the United States and stuff, there's an energy that they're explaining to these kids. It's called Know Your Rights, these immigrant kids. And then they sell them off into slavery. And they're working in businesses and so on. And there's a whole hearing about it. Okay? You guys should look that up. And it's dealing with Kamala Harris. In addition, there's a phone number in reference to if you want to, complain or whatever you need to do about that WHO energy. And it starts with look it up. It starts with the area code 212-415. Is that 415 is very interesting because, of course, 415 is the prefix for San Francisco. But that WHO summit, you should, do something about that. Did y'all hear that Rich Lowry? I guess he's some kind of writer and he didn't call the Haitians niggers. Well, I'm not worried about him calling Haitians niggers. I'm very interested about these sleeper cells in the United States of how they have different immigrants laying their asses there and they're housing them and everything. And they were talking about a whole bunch of them came from Sierra Leone and they're in one town. So what are these sleeper cells of immigrants like in Maryland with the Ukrainians and stuff like that in different parts of the world, like in Ireland and so on? Can we talk about the sleeper cells? Because sooner or later they're going to uproot themselves. Just like in Hollywood, you're having third world energy writing scripts and stories. We already had them having different social medias. Can we talk about the sleeper cells? Because they're not talking about the sleeper cells. At one time in America, as you already know, we had the Slavics, and then it changed into the Italians being the number one in America. Now it's the Mexicans. Underneath them are the Asians. Okay? So the bottom line is that we have to understand what's going on. So can we just discuss the sleeper cell instead of peeping what the fuck Rich Lowry said? He only telling his white self. That's why I want that racism. I want that. He done sat up and said, fucking niggers. Well, going back to T.I. and his snitch money and Tiny's traffic money, allegedly, how they going to divide this? Because apparently at the court case, allegedly, Zanique and they said the original members of the OMG girls testified, but I didn't see Regine on that list. So does Regine get a cut of that money? Because it seemed like T.I. have a problem with Toya. I don't know. Or is it me, or is Tekashi 9 actually deported? Did he go back to Mexico to his real family? Are we not going to talk and discuss the bewitchery? Because we so busy calling him a snitch, but we forgot about T.I. allegedly. Interesting. Okay. Because you guys were out there angry with that gunner. Are we going to talk about the rich homie Quan funeral? Are we going to talk about the burial? Are we going to talk about the rituals, what the fuck was going on? Are we going to talk about the casket? Are we going to talk about the story? Are we going to talk about the 911? Are we going to talk about the brother in Dubai? Or do we just put that on the shelf? Huh, okay. Are we going to talk about in Africa and stuff, the new gun trafficking going on and Ukraine sending guns to Africa, to Nigeria and to Nigeria and Ghana? And the customs or whatever had to stop the energy. And there was a whole trunk of guns and shit running into Africa, just like the drug scene. Are we going to talk about that story that's on the news? Because you guys are distracted and bewitched. Are we going to talk about how they have different type of drugs and stuff for pigmentation or repigmentation for Asian people, but not for black people? They got all these medicines out here. Are we going to admit that we're acting like trash? Black men are trash. Black women are trash. Propaganda, social media. How are we going to fix this? Maybe get out some of them fake religions. Here it is. Yeah, it's called a minority inspector in your schools. This woman made this woman's child register to vote at 15 years old and talk about trying to encourage her child to vote Democrat. And the woman at the school says she's a minority inspector. My son at the school, at his school, he come asking me for his social security number because they wanted him to register to vote already. I said, no. He didn't want to listen to me. See, it's difficult with these kids because they don't want to listen to you. See, he didn't want to listen to me because I was like, what they need your social for? Wait a minute, what's going on here? I said, what is this? Because they were talking about how the military are getting the fuck out. I don't know how that works. I need to understand how come the Teamsters are not going to support Kamala Harris during the election, allegedly. The Teamsters said, fuck you, and we're not fucking with you. When did the Teamsters start doing that? I used to Berkeley. I used to be the secretary, partially, at my, from certain time, for Q that turned into the Teamsters. What the fuck is going on with that? What's going on with the military? I'm just putting everything into it. Huh, okay. As you guys are distracted, right? I have a question. What the fuck was going on in Kentucky with that sheriff and judge? Because somebody was saying that basically that the alleged story was some trafficking and sexual frequencies with minors and something going on with his daughter or with his child. And they said he walked into the back and told everybody to leave. Everybody left and he killed the judge. What was that about? Meet Marvina Twigg, President and CEO of National Youth Advocate Program. This social worker received $1.2 million to move 20,000 Haitians into rural Ohio. We don't have questions? A student has been left at Gettysburg College after a racial slur was etched onto a student's chest, school officials say. The funny thing within this story, this is in Pennsylvania. So supposedly this black kid went to this college, I will assume, Yeah, it's supposed to be a college, I think. And he was on a black kid, allegedly is on a swim team. His whole swim team was white. They jumped him and then allegedly got a box cutter and carved nigger on him. I said, huh? And so it's funny in this story, they never gave the name, but they said 6 of them. I said, this sounds like a fake story to me because that's pretty serious. And saying that the white boys are still there and the black person left. I said, oh, so they didn't went back slavery time to brand you and shit like that, got you. So now they didn't went nigga. So anyway, I know for a fact about them white kids because my son went through it because he goes to, like a white school. And the football team tried to jump his ass, but he was smart and knew better. And he wasn't playing with them. And they was trying to lead him into shit. That reminds me of the young brother who got his organs taken out. Being in these white schools, that's the kind of shit that they do. You can't trust white kids. They're volatile. And they're very, and this is the kind of shit that they do. But we don't teach our kids that this is the mentality because they have wiped away basically the fabric of America and teaching you inclusive. And I try to tell my son all the time, hey, but I'm glad he did listen at that time because they could have got him because the football team was trying to, because they went and put some kind of gooky stuff in his dreads, like some kind of like gook, and the guy put it in his hair, and you know what it is to get that shit out. And he was like, what? And I think I talked about this, and he had to kind of go Bay Area on his ass. So, this is a believable story, but I said, oh, so they going slavery nigga on us. Got you. Okay. Did y'all hear about this story? Because you guys were distracted. Did y'all know in the UK church is canceled? They don't want to have church anymore. So therefore they canceled church, period, and pushing Eastern culture and some philosophies, it says. What the guy is saying. And now they don't want to have service. They just want to have walks in the parks. I had a spiritual constituents tell me that in so many words that he had applied for Section 8 in 1998. They just now hit him up talking about, you want some Section 8? And asked him a question about his sexuality. And they asked if he's gay. He's like, yeah. Or LBCGEFG and HIJK and OP. I don't know. And so he marked it yes. They gave him the Section 8, bitch. I said, that's a cold game and a cold election. He was shocked. Did y'all hear about that story that happened about 5 years ago with Koch Foods and ICE came and arrested and ran off all them people? And ran off the people. Well, ICE picked up the people at some of these factories, and one of them was Koch. And all the black people, they basically did a, I guess some kind of job fair, and black people showed up. And the people that they had working at the factories were all Mexican people. How we missed this story? We're just talking here, right? Have you been seeing how the FBI been rolling up to people's houses in the United States, asking them what the fuck they saying on social media? Have you been leaving your kids alone with the nurses when they question them and calling themselves safeguard them, and they ask them the inappropriate questions that could get you can get you caught up? Have you been doing that? Tina Knowles? She's falling under some energies, huh? Matthew knows talking shit, and so is that ex-husband, other ex-husband of her. So they just got with her to get her money or something. The other, I mean, I don't understand how these two men are talking about her, and that ex-husband of hers, he had 2 babies on her. Did he not? So was this another DeBrat and Judy effect? Just like what they're saying about Megan Good and Jonathan Majors, just taking care of these men? But she's in the web. DeBrat is not a man, but you know where I'm going. Did y'all see that energy on social media, which was, I guess, Hurricane Chris talking about Neo and Pimp C? And Pimp C had an issue with Neo licking his lips. I said, damn. I said, so Pimp C was a man's, huh? But how they found him dead on his knees with his hands put together in prayer position was very interesting, because that's the same thing they said about Mac Miller, that he was on his knees in a prayer position. What is that? What the fuck is going on with CL Smooth and Pete Rock? They, CL Smooth was on that Drink Champs, and he's tripping that I guess Pete Rock don't want shit to do with them. I said, well, did you try to Eric Sermon him? What's going on? And Eric Sermon him is what Eric Sermon allegedly tried to do with Parrish, right? Smith, the one from from EPMD, allegedly was trying to kill that ass, allegedly. I'm just asking questions. Did you hear about that raid in Palm Beach? How they had all that fake Jennery, Van Cleef, and all that in Poochie? People tripping with the VMAs with L Cool J, talk about it was demonic with the goats. And then there was this woman standing there with a smile on her face. I said that was a whole marketing publicity stunt for that new movie Smile 2, aka Lady Gaga's brain. Now we're going to get to see what she goes through at night with her horror. Because that looked like a straight, the new Smile 2 looked like a straight Lady Gaga energy, we'll say, right? The Emmys. Who in the fuck is Lisa Coleon Zayas? And why did she get on the Emmy speaking and rolling her tongue when you originally hear her? She just sounds like a New Yorker. She's Puerto Rican. What does being Puerto Rican or Latina and voting have to do with anything? I just have questions. So now it's the Latinas' turn. They giving all of them a turn. They're talking about that they feel that we're living in an assimilation world. In a force field. I think they're right. Because time is off. They're out here talking about these lotus birth babies and how people are keeping the placentas and it's damaging the child. It's causing children to become sick, allegedly. I said, And they said they put herbs and all that shit on it. Where did all that come from then? If it's bad, and can somebody explain that? And why aren't they talking about these doulas keeping dead babies? Allegedly. Well, doulas, where are those babies going? Why are they not talking about abortions? How in reality, you can have old tissue residue. Meaning, if you had more than one abortion by different men, why are they not talking about that? I'm not talking about medical. I'm talking about in spirit. Do you really not think those tissues will attach to your child? Just wonder if that dude had a bad energy going on with him. The first dude, you go have another abortion by a second dude. So you didn't have 2 abortions, so those are 2 different energies. Then you actually go have a kid, then your kid have their energies. Makes you kind of question that DNA stuff, allegedly. We just talking. We talking in spirit. You wonder why your child messed up, and you're trying to get the hell away from one ex, he becomes the ex. Because they sure pushing the abortion agenda, huh? Just like they're not talking about these churches financing abortion, especially the Mormon and Seventh-day Adventist Church, and sending their residents or people. They're talking about doing abortions in Congo and doing abortions in China. Why are we not talking about this, right? Allegedly, right? We're just having conversation. Anyway, this is Wayward Renegade Witches blog. Hit us up when you want some real motherfucking work done.